audience, and then we'll do it in French. Okay, donc, so we have today with us Jenny. Uh, and Jenny, can you tell us what you do, who you are, and how you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm the founder of the yoga room here in San Francisco near the USF University Upper Haight
Yeah.
neighborhood. And we offer a variety of fun activities from the Wild Woman Circle, which I started in about May of 2014, as well as private yoga, private healing body work called Harmonium Healing, yoga for women called Nam Yoga, which is the science of sound and light. So there's a lot of chanting. We also just have cool events like new moon offerings, full moon circles, special workshops. Like we're going to have a workshop on essential oils. We had one on the Yoga Sutras, which is a great text. So we're just building and expanding and evolving to create a place of harmony and love and growth, and to really explore different things. So yes.
So how did you come up? How did you come up with the idea of doing a Wild Woman Circle?
Well, I actually was renting out the space to my friend Edward, who uses the space. He taught the workshop on the Yoga Sutras, and he was doing a men's group. And he suggested that I do a women's group. And so I was kind of, there are other people in the community that have like Nam Yoga for women or other.
So you decided to add the word wild in front of it?
No, so then I just wanted to do like have a safe, sacred space just for women to unite, because
Okay.
sometimes with men you can't have that place for just women to open up about
Okay.
certain things and to support one another. So the idea was just for women to come together. And then I wonder, I don't think I had a name yet. I think I was just calling it like the Divine Feminine. And then I went to the library and I just got a whole bunch of books on the subject.
And then
So the Divine Feminine, the goddess, and the wild woman are all these archetypes about the woman that really follows her strength, her wisdom, is in tune with nature, follows her spirit. Anyway, online, I don't know if you know Daniel Vitalis. He's a great person. Everyone should look him up. So he's done a lot of things about rewilding yourself. And I'm actually
Oh.
starting a class about rewilding movement, and it's going to integrate gyrokinesis and yoga and dance and
But
qigong.
isn't
But
your-
wait,
isn't,
so the name, let me just answer your question. So the name is really, so just to bring it back to Daniel Vitalis, he's all about rewilding yourself, so reconnecting to your the indigenous ways of how people actually were, like out in nature, breathing fresh air, and walking around in nature barefoot. So the wild woman, his girlfriend, his partner is Alexandra Schuler, and she started an online Facebook group which is called the Wild Woman Speak Sisterhood.
Okay.
And this was like 2 weeks. So I was already starting the class, and then she had this group, and then I started researching what the Wild Woman was. So I thought, oh, that would be a cool name.
Oh.
And then there's actually a book. So the Wild Woman is an archetype, and there's a book which we've been studying in the circle by Clarissa Estes Pincola.
Yeah, yeah.
And she wrote a book called Women Who Run with the Wolves, and it's all
Oh.
about stories and myths of the wild woman archetype.
Ah.
So the divine it's about nurturing the divine feminine, the wild woman, and the wild woman isn't just like a wild woman. It's about the authentic woman, the woman that who you really are, who's free.
Okay. I see.
Yeah.
Okay, it sounds like a lot of fun, but the principle of meditating and yoga is to be the opposite of wild. It's to be calm and connecting with the source and all that. Does the wild woman connect with the source also?
You know, that's a great question. And the Wild Woman Circle isn't only yoga. So we start with, well, what is yoga? We actually just had that workshop
You
on
calm
it.
down, right?
Well, yoga is to be
Meditate.
to be to not really be thinking.
Okay.
To have union of your mind, body, and spirit. It's to yoke. So we do all of the asanas, all of the movement, so that we can get it into a place where we just sit still and, you know, ideally reach this place of just being aware.
But wild doesn't mean you're wild then.
No, and in fact, wild, how can you find that place of being wild? Sometimes it's through stillness, sometimes it's through being quiet. It could be cooking or painting, it could be just being with nature. So wild means authentic. It means like the indigenous people, you know, it's rewilding yourself, but it just means back to source, back to nature. And actually people, they sang, they danced, they howled at the moon, they being free and being calm. I mean, it's all aspects of who we are, so you should have flavor. You know, you should have a variety. I don't see why you have to be like just one aspect.
Okay. So in a wild woman circle, there's different personalities of women then.
Well, one of the goals before I started was I wanted to have it to be very welcome to any adults. Well, any adult. So I didn't want it to just be a certain age group or certain type of woman. I wanted it to be open. So we actually have a really great range of ages in the circle, which I love because I think we can really learn from the wise older women, which I think in our society we don't really respect our elders with their wisdom of experience. You know, we kind of, once you get past a certain age, we even put them in homes. You know, it's not really where we respect them. And so, not that we have 80-year-olds yet in the group, but I would love that. And we also have really young women, and we can learn from the young woman, can learn from the wise woman, and we can also take the energy of the young spirit. So there's so much value in having an eclectic group of women. So it's been a great journey, and I'm learning a lot. And it's still growing. So I'm just the facilitator, and then the women kind of help make the group what it is.
Oh, so you're making like a prototype, and maybe then you can expand it to different cities or different groups all over the Bay Area.
I just want to keep what I'm doing in the yoga room and nurturing. You know, it's doing really well, and everyone loves it. There's definitely a desire for it. And there are more circles. I know on the Facebook fan page, there are a lot of circles throughout the United States, throughout the world, for the full moon, the new moon, for just
all kinds of groups
for women. And so maybe they're called wild women groups. That's just a name, but it doesn't matter what the name is. It's about connecting the sisterhood of supporting one another, because in our society women don't really come together to support each other. There's competition, there's just the sense of like, oh, you're not my friend. But what would happen if women came together and accepted one another and helped one another, and instead of putting you down if you were down, actually tried to lift everyone up? What would that group, what would that community, what power would happen through everyone it came together?
So it's a much better spirit.
Very much so. Yeah.
So who's that little guy here? Is he your friend?
He's my best friend. This is Chewbacca, Chewie, and
does he participate?
He does. He's the only male allowed in the group.
Okay.
So he adds a little bit. And you know, the Wild Woman Circle isn't against boys or little puppies or the male energy. It's actually, we want to respect the male too, and the male has a wild side, and there's a divine masculine.
Have male, female in us.
Well, that's true too. But the men's group has honor too, and it's not about bashing the men or being like, oh, it's about, you know, they have honor and they're beautiful, and so are we. And so I just wanted to make that clear. Just it's not like a separation thing to be against. It's just to empower the women. So
that's great.
So Chewie's my little dog.
So that group lasts how long? Like an hour?
Well, we start at 7, and then we normally go till about 8:45, 9. So it's 2 hours. 1:45.
Okay. And then you talk.
Yeah, we actually. So part of my vision was to have it be a place where there would be an abundance of food and laughter, and also that you could come not always being all positive, but you could come however you are. So all states, like if you're sad or having a stressful moment in your life, that's fine too. But we come together and we eat. So it's a potluck, and there's actually There's wine.
No,
But you don't have to drink. And then we come together. So there's the first part, which is just community of food together with women, because I think it's good to have everyone enjoy eating together. I think that sense of the tribe, the sense of coming together, it lacks in an American society. Whereas, at least I found in Europe, there's more of that coming together. So that was part of it. I wanted people to just come together socially.
And you encourage them to say something?
Well, then after, so then it's more just social.
Talk to whoever.
There's
you
no
want
real
to.
format.
Who do you want to talk to? You talk to.
Yeah, it's just, there's no real structure.
It's not structured. Okay.
No, it's not structured at all. I mean, yeah. And then we transition to the circle. So I really create the space. That's kind of my job of having it be a very, and it's a beautiful circle of a place where you can really share. And there are certain guidelines, like, whatever you share in the circle stays in the circle. So we have like a ball that we pass around. So I am the facilitator. So there's a theme each week. And then I ask questions. We might start with a chant from Nam Yoga, or a song that somebody else in the circle might have written. And then, so we pass the ball around, and it's like a talking stick. So the ball, when you have the ball, only you can speak, and nobody can interrupt you. And then, I kind of facilitate it. But sometimes people, so outside of the topic, say someone has something going on, then it's free flow.
They can talk.
Yes.
Tell somebody.
Yeah.
Is it a monthly meeting?
It's every 2 weeks, but right now we're filling capacity, so it's pretty much full. So I think we're going to have it be every Tuesday. Mm-hmm. But for right now, it's
every 2 weeks.
It's every 2 weeks.
The first and the third?
Or
the second and the fourth, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever you feel like doing it. Okay.
It's around every 2 weeks. Okay. I send out Facebook invites.
So if someone wants to join your Facebook, is what, jenndinoia?
Well, actually, I have a fan page, so I think that's probably simpler. It's called the Yoga Room, so it's a Facebook fan page. But my Facebook name is JENN, and then my last name is DINOIA. And there's actually another Jenn Dinoia that looks a lot like me, who's in Wicked. So if you ever just put my name out there,
you might get to.
You're gonna see a witch with a green face like everywhere. And I used to be in theater, so people are always like, "Oh, is that you?" So it's kind of funny.
So they just type San Francisco then, and they find you.
Yeah, or
they'll recognize you on the Facebook.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yoga. You also teach yoga once in a while?
I teach privately, and I teach a couple times a week, and I'm actually increasing the classes because we're gonna have like a monthly special where new students can get like certain classes.
Basics.
Well, anywho, we're gonna increase the schedule, the offerings. So I offer Nam Yoga for women, and then I offer a meditation class, which is for chanting, and then I'm gonna start the rewind. So you want me just to talk about the yoga? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do teach yoga. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I have a specific question for you.
Sure.
Okay. So my concern about yoga is that to meditate, you kind of reach your spirit outside of the body, and then you come back in the body, right? So is there a danger that the body leaves, the spirit leaves, and then doesn't come back?
I never heard of meditation like that. You think it's when the spirit leaves and comes back?
Well, you gotta connect with source, so maybe it leaves, you connect with source. What if you don't come back?
Well, I never heard of it like that, and I would just erase whatever you think meditation is. Like, connect with source. What is source?
Okay.
I don't know. So I would just remove all of that, and
what is meditation?
That's
then?
A great question. So there are many forms of meditation, but I would just think of try whatever is comfortable for you.
Silent or music?
Well, okay. So I always thought of what is prayer. Okay, well, I don't know. Prayer is different. So prayer, I always think of me just having a conversation with God, whatever that means to you,
or the source. Okay.
Well, for me, I call him Hashem or God, but whatever. These are big topics, but it's a conversation, and you're listening. And for me, meditation, there are many forms of meditation, but you can think of it as just breathing, and the thoughts are going to come in and out, and that's okay. And there's really no wrong way to meditate.
Okay.
So you're trying to...
Could be silent or could be with music?
Yeah, so there's many forms of meditation. You can focus on a candle to start. You could do walking meditation. You could lie down at the end of a yoga class. That could be...
It's so good.
So what it is there is... it's sitting comfortably, either sitting, standing. You could be in mountain pose. Lying down is okay. And you can do it quietly, or you could do it chanting a mantra. And it's to quiet the mind.
Oh, okay.
But it's okay if you don't quiet the mind right away, because that takes time, and a lot of people don't get there, and that's okay. So it's really just about practicing, and you want to do it daily, and ideally at the same time. So there's certain hours to do it. For example, the ambrosial hours, which are 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. So when you notice you ever wake up early and everything's a little bit more quiet,
then you can do it.
That's the best time I find, because your mind can be a little bit more quiet. There isn't the sound of all the cars, the laptops, the cell phones ringing. You're just kind of more quiet. And
that's when you can meditate the best?
I find so. And also just having okay, I wake up, I pee, brush my teeth, wash my face, and then I meditate. Like, if you have that structure and that discipline, with time, you will see a difference. And it's very experiential. So I would just recommend start with 3 minutes a day. You know, for if you're going to chant, a good one.
You don't have too much
could
time.
be like a Sat Nam. That's a great one to start with. Or just the Sat Nam one is a good one to start with, 3 minutes a day.
People don't want to say these words. They don't know what it means.
Well, you know, Sat is truth, Nam is the word, the sound current. So it just means truth is my identity.
Oh.
It's pretty simple.
Is that what it means?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But if you don't like Sat Nam, you could do
truth,
English.
Then you can say it in English.
You could, but you're not really getting the same benefit, because there are... Well, we have meridians on the top of the roof of our mouth.
Yeah.
We have 84 of them. So what we're doing when we're chanting with sound is we are using our tongue to come into connection with the roof of our mouth. And that affects our pineal gland, which is connected to your intuition. And
but it's more beneficial if you say the word that you understand.
Well, there are mantras in English. A great one is I am, which comes from the Old Testament.
Okay.
So
you could
that's
say
the name of God, is I am that I am. So you could do I am that I am.
That's easy.
It's a great easy one.
It's a great easy syllable.
Yeah, I'll even play it. So folks.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Is it like they repeat the same thing all the time?
Yeah.
No, I don't. It's I'm not into that kind of music. That's the thing also with yoga. Some people say I don't have the patience.
Well, you're not supposed to like it. Like, you know, people think you're supposed to enjoy meditation. That's not true, because our mind is kind of garbaged up.
Yeah.
Right?
Like,
it's called the monkey mind, right?
Do.
Yeah, or just thoughts about, what do I have to do? I have to, what am I making for dinner? And I have to pick up the kids, and I have a, report due. So all these thoughts are in our head. So when we are dealing with meditation, all these thoughts are still happening maybe. And
how do you get rid of all these obligations?
Well, you don't really get rid of them. You're aware. So you're creating the observer of the mind. And
you take a step
when
back.
You take away... This is something I heard Eckhart Tolle speak at the Salesforce conference. You were there as well.
Yeah,
and maybe you recall him saying, so have you ever been with people who have amnesia or dementia and they're older? So who are you?
Yeah.
You're a mother, you're a producer of television, you're a videographer, you are, you exercise a lot, you have long hair.
Are you?
But anyway, our identities could be, okay, I'm a CEO of this company. But say you're getting older and you start forgetting your memory, right? You don't even know your name.
Yeah. Who are you?
So I am that I am. That could be a good thing. I am that I am. But you can always be aware of this moment. And so when you are meditating, there can be all of these thoughts, but you are this observer of your thoughts. That's who you are. It's that essence of who you are, of your soul. So I think that's very powerful, to realize that you are not your body. You are not your name. I'm not Jennifer. I'm not Tunisian. I'm not Jewish. I'm not. Who am I? I am. One day maybe I'm pretty when I was younger, or I had a dancer's body, but maybe when I'm 80, it's gonna be gone, and we might not even look the same. What if you get burned? Are you no longer you?
You never know.
So you are that observer of your thoughts. So you're in the now, and that's all you really have. The past is gone, the future, who knows? And so you're here. And I think dogs have it, right?
They live in the present.
Or kids have it. Kids are there.
Dogs forget 5 minutes ago, right?
Oh, they totally do. And kids too. If you scold them for something they did 5 minutes ago, they won't understand. Like if Joey hit Tommy and you're like, Joey, and you're explaining how bad it is, you have to do it right away, or they won't understand.
They don't even know what you're
talking about. They don't even know what you're talking about.
He doesn't know if you don't tell him right away.
Right away, right?
So he forgets me too.
I know. He's pretty bad. So speaking of that, I think that's a great analogy. I liked it when Eckhart Tolle spoke of that, because we are
in the now.
In the now. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. And does, as a yogi, I see you drink water. Does yogi drink only water?
I hope not. I like tequila. No. Ideally, no. I don't think you're supposed to. I don't think I'm a yogi. I think a yogi really should have more respect, because it takes such a sacrifice, and the spiritual path is
vegetarian.
Is a very I think it's one that isn't for everyone, and that's why it should be respected, and it takes time and it takes sacrifice. So I think at one point I was really on that path, but right now I'm more on the middle path, or the middle way, and I do drink occasionally, and I do have my vices, and I do have meat occasionally. That's hopefully, that's
not too much.
That's humanely treated, because as you know, there's a lot of meat in America is really not humanely treated. So ideally you do no harm, and you could be vegan, and that's great, but maybe you have to take care of your own
needs,
nutritional needs.
Yeah. So anyway, so you have chosen that path for your career?
For now. I'm in the now.
No, I mean, is that what you like doing?
I like doing a lot of things. I like baking. I was doing raw food desserts for a while, but you need to bake a lot of those. And I'm what else? I like to juggle. I like to choreograph. I like I like doing a lot of things. I like to, so it's one of the many things I like to do. And
you can be complete by completing each of these things together.
Well, I'm someone with a lot of interests,
and
I've always had a hard time focusing on one thing for a long time. I change. I think they call it the 7-year itch. Like in any field that you are in, whether it's business, IT, if you're doing the exact same field after 7 years, and it's the same thing in a marriage, everything there's often 7-year cycles, and they talk a lot about that in yoga too. The cells regenerate in 7 years, but you're gonna need to be re-enthused, re-energized. So I taught gyrotonic, which is a form of a movement modality, and I'm actually gonna add some gyrokinesis to the Rewild class that I'm starting. But I taught it, and I just felt like I was kind of in a place, in a rut of I wanted to be re-inspired, and that's when I transitioned to really yoga. I felt more inspired with it, and I love that feeling of newness, of freshness, of learning. I'm a learner, and but it the path of doing the same thing for a long time, and I was talking about this when I was talking about yoga, is it's not supposed to be fun. Like you're gonna have all that kind of those thoughts and that gook. But with time, it's like cleaning your house. At first, when you clean a house, how if you take out everything from a closet, it looks like there's more of a mess. Well, that's kind of what you're doing with your thoughts. You're taking all this stuff out, and it's like, and maybe you don't want to do it, or you're like, it's too much, it's uncomfortable, or I'd rather avoid the moment, right? Most of life is avoiding the moment through distraction, or drinking in a bar, or watching TV, or whatever to distract yourself. So, to be in that moment, to observe your mind with all those thoughts can be overwhelming. So, at first it's not always comfortable. Meditation isn't always fun or blissful, so you have to go through that. But then I think with time, in my experience, is you do get to a place of cleaning out the closet, and at least one corner of the house, or you can do
one at a time,
one drawer at a time. You do one thing at a time. And I notice, I don't like cleaning. It's one of my something I'm learning right now, owning a yoga studio is like, oh, I got to do this, but you know what?
It helps.
It feels so nice at the end. When you look at your room, and you're like, it's all orderly and clean, and you feel very, very good. So I think that's the same process with the mind and meditation is, the process, maybe it can be like kind of like walking up a mountain, like you're gonna maybe
scrubbing and
your muscles might be tired, you're out of breath or whatever, but when you reach the top of the mountain, it's kind of like, oh, it's a beautiful view, or the room is clean, or maybe you have a little bit more, you're observing everything, and then you're in the eye of the storm, you're not kind of caught up in everything, but you can just kind of be like an observer, like more chill. So I'm definitely could use that in my life, and I think maybe people who do have more mental stuff are drawn towards meditation or yoga because they need that to become more present, whereas some people, maybe they just they get it through just
type A, busy.
No, people who I meet people who just seem like they're so much more chill than me, even though maybe they've never done yoga before, but they're just
quiet by nature.
Yeah, have you ever met those people that just seem like almost not like a dog, but like just chill and natural and in the moment, and it's maybe their upbringing, or they had the right tools.
Sometimes they say all souls or something.
Yeah.
It happens.
That's a great way to look at it.
So people are like more quiet. So we're gonna. You explain very well what you do.
Thank you.
So I would like now to switch to French because the show is bilingual, and
right.
we decided to switch. We used to start first in French, then in English. Now we are doing the opposite, so we don't lose the listeners.
And thank you for inviting me. I haven't spoken French in a while, and I haven't been to France in over a year. So
okay, so
this
no
will
problem.
be great.
No problem.
Great practice.